Okay, our next topic is producer consumer solution using threads in Java. So in the last class, we have seen what is producer consumer problem and what is the usual solution. So your producer and consumer, they need synchronization between each other, because once the producer produces the data, then only your consumer can consume the data, right? So what are the constraints here for your producer as well as consumer? See, we have slightly modified the program. We'll look into the program. So what does your program do here is, I'll be taking the producer as one thread and the next one consumer as the another thread, and main thread is anyways there. So first, initially, if my producer thread is running, there is no issue here. So producer will produce the data. So we will be defining one method called as put method, which will produce the data. And once producer produces the data, then your consumer can consume the data. Now, once again, if producer produces the data, your consumer can consume the data, and so on. So consider that producer is going to put the data as 1, your consumer should post the data as 1. Similarly, if your producer is producing the data as 2, then your consumer should read that particular data produced by the producer, which is 2, right? Right. Now, consider that initially itself your consumer thread is starting. That is, consumer thread started running. So what should happen? Before producer producing the data, if your consumer tries to consume the data, what will happen? This is what the actual problem with your producer consumer. Before your producer producing the data, your consumer cannot consume the data. So that is the solution. What is the solution we'll be giving? Consumer needs to wait until the producer produces data. And producer also should wait until the consumer consumes the data. This is what we'll be adding here, or a light modification we'll be doing. So you can just observe once the output here, put is what your producer do. So if producer is posting the data as 1, your consumer should read the data as got. Then again producer will put the data as 2, consumer will read the data, producer will post the data as 3, and the consumer will get the data, and so on till 5. So there is no restriction on this, but what is the synchronization point here is, producer will produce the data, then only consumer can consume the data. Producer cannot produce another set of data before your consumer is consuming the data. So there should be a proper synchronization between your producer as well as consumer in order to give the proper solution. So we'll see the program. So the first, we are defining one class called as your queue, a normal queue. It is not extending any thread. So basically it is not a thread. You are having an instance variable called n and an instance variable called as value set. Value set, the value of your value set is false initially. Now there are get as well as put methods inside your class queue. You can observe that we have given clearly this is your synchronized. So what is your synchronized keyword? Synchronized keyword will make sure that an object which is reading, which is acquiring this particular resource, will acquire a lock. It will complete its complete execution, and then only it releases the lock, so that the other thread can take the control over that particular resource. So your get as well as put method is synchronized here. Now at a single glance, if you see your get method, what you can understand here, what it is doing, there is one statement like if. It is either trying to wait, or it will be printing that it got the value called as your n. The two main steps here is, either your get, whenever your consumer is calling the get method, it will either wait, or it will read the data produced by the producer. So which thread will call the get method, whether it is producer thread or your consumer thread? Consumer thread will call the get method. Now second, if at all we see your put method, now this is your put method. Again your put method is synchronous because of the same reason. Put will put the data called as n. So if n is 1, it should post the data as 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So now if again, you can observe here that either it is actually waiting, or what it is doing, it should either wait or it should put the data with this particular specified value called as your n. So you are having a class called as q with an instance variable n. N denotes the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. What is this n? If producer is producing the data, say the value of your n is 1, the same value of n as 1 should be read by the consumer. If producer produces data value of your n as 2, consumer should read that value as 2. That is, this is reading this particular data. Consumer is reading this particular n value. Producer will produce this particular n value. Now value set, you can understand when we discuss about the logic of the program, you can understand the importance of your value set here, right? And further you are having get as well as put methods which are synchronized. Now we have ended the class queue, and next we will be turning towards your class producer. Producer extends thread in the sense producer is basically a thread here, right? Now what is the part of your producer? It is having your instance variable called as queue and a constructor with your producer constructor. So this dot queue is equal to queue. So this object queue, whatever you are writing the instance variable under your producer and whatever the parameter you are passing, you are making it to equalize. And now you are writing one statement called new thread of this comma producer in your inverted course dot start. So instead of starting this thread in the main function, till now whatever the programs we have done, we have started the thread in the main function. Now in this particular constructor itself, you are starting the thread. So irrespective of that, you are starting this. This represents the current object. Producer in the inverted quotes is the name given to your producer thread. Internal, it has nothing to do with our much. Only thing is we are giving the name also of your thread which is created as your producer, and you are starting this thread. So once your thread starts, it will invoke your run method. It will invoke your run method. Now what are you doing in the run method of your producer class? Obviously what method it should call? It should call your put method. Put method, and you are sending some value. Irrespective of that, we are sending 1 2 3 4 5. So q dot put of I plus plus. Where does the control transfer? When this statement is executed, it will transfer to your put method. What are you doing in the put method? I said you either it is waiting, or what it is doing, it is posting the data 1 2 3 4 or 5 of the value called as n, of the variable n. It is posting the value. Similarly, you are having next the consumer thread. You are having the consumer thread. It is a thread, so you are writing it as extends thread, and it is also defining one constructor with the same thing like the q value, and the name of the thread given is consumer, and you are starting the thread. So once you start the thread, this particular run method will be executed. Now what is your consumer doing? Which method it should call? Your consumer should call your get method. That is what exactly we are doing here. While true, q dot get. So this is my class consumer, right? Now the next one is my actual class, where your main function is written. So in the main one, consider that your main function is started. Main is a thread. You are creating an instance of your class q, which is not a thread, the initial class. What does your class q consist of? It is consisting of the variable called as your n, where the value of your n is important to both the consumer as well as your producer. Next one is your boolean value called value set. We will see in the logic what it has to do with the program. Next one, you are having the synchronized get as well as put methods in your class q. So now you are creating an object of your class q. Next one, you are creating the instance of your producer thread as well as your consumer thread, that is the classes. And in the constructor, you are passing this particular object called as your q. So when this statement is executed, where does your control transfer to? It transfers to the producer constructor here. This is my producer constructor. So what is your producer constructor doing? It is equalizing this instance variable q to the parameter whatever you are passing. Apart from that, it is starting its own thread. It is starting your producer thread. So because it is extending thread, you will be writing the action part of your producer is written in your run method. So what is your run method, or what is the action part to be done by your producer? Simply it should call your put method. Now consider that meanwhile your main thread is also executing. Then the next step will be consumer. You are creating an instance of your consumer class, and you are passing the same queue here also. So again, the control transfers to the constructor called as your consumer. Further, it is equalizing this variable, that is this dot q is equal to the parameter whatever you are passing. That should be the same object. Otherwise, there is no point in writing put as well as your get also. Now this is giving the name of the thread as consumer, and it is starting. So which thread it is starting? It is starting your consumer thread. So it is starting, you are giving the function called as your start, and it is starting there. So what is the action part of your consumer now? What is the actual action of your consumer? What does your consumer do? It just executes your get method, so that the value which your producer has produced should be read by your consumer in the get method. Producer will call your put method and write the value. Consumer will call the get method and read the value produced by the producer. Now for this action, you need synchronization. That is the reason your get as well as put methods are synchronized. Now we will see the execution. Now how many threads exist in this program? 3 threads. One is your main thread, One is your producer thread and one is your consumer thread. And as I said, you will be having the concurrent execution of the program. So you may have different cases. Like first case can be your main thread is started. It started your producer thread. Producer thread will call the start method. It may go to the run method and it may call your put method also. Meanwhile, consider that your run method is not even initialized. Meanwhile, the control can again jump back to your main thread and it can start your consumer thread also. What does your consumer thread do? It will start its own thread. So it may call your get function. So there are many cases. So we will see the important cases in this program. First case is like I am calling the producer. Right. See here. The case one is my producer thread is called first and it is writing the data called as your with your put function. Right. Second step is consumer is called. Consumer is called. So producer is producing the data, consumer is printing the data, that is reading the data produced by the producer, and the output will be as it is. So this is the first case. So the case one is the first action done is producer calls the producer thread will be executed first. This first number indicates that producer thread will be executed first. It calls the put function and then it writes the data. Next one, consumer then calls its get method and it will be reading the data. So this case we'll be seeing first. Right, see it. So consider that your producer will call the run method, and what it is doing, it is writing what is the value of your I? 1. So what it is doing, it is writing q dot put of I plus plus. I plus plus is your post increment. So first q dot put of I is 1 first, and for the next one it will become 2. Next time you're calling it will become 2. So now the control transfers to q dot put of I plus plus. So go to the put function. Put function is synchronous, so it will attain the lock until execution is completed. No other thread or it won't release the lock. So you don't need to worry about the interleaving procedure in this again. So first one, put function is called. What is the value of your n? What value did it send? 1. So your n will become 1. Now if value set, what is the initial value of your value set? Where you need to check? You need to check in the instance variable of your class Q. What is the initial value you gave to value set? It is false. So in the put function, n is equal to 1. If value set, if false. What do you mean by false? If false, will this block will be executed? No. So this whole block won't be executed. It further comes here and it is telling that this dot n equal to n, that is q dot n is equal to n, that is 1. Right? And value set is becoming equal to true. Initially, what is the value set value? False. Now you are making it as true. And if n less than or equal to 5, if it is 1 is less than or equal to 5 is true, then you put the data as 1 and then you are writing a notify statement. I repeat, your producer is calling the put function with the value called as n. N value is 1. So if value set, what is the value set value initially? False. So if false, this whole block will not be executed till here. So next statement will be this dot n is equal to n. What is the value of your n? 1. So the value will be now 1. You are changing the value set to true. Earlier, what was the value of your value set? It was false. Now it will become true. Now, if 1 less than or equal to 5, yes, it is true. So you will write, this statement will be executed. It will put plus n in the sense 1 value, right? So it will put the value as 1. You can see the first statement put the value as 1. Now, you are writing next to the notify. Now, what is the use of notify here? See, in the earlier, when we are discussing about your thread states, I have said you that a thread will jump from running state to blocked state because of various reasons. What was one of the reason there is wait, right? Because of wait, your thread will go to the blocked state. And when does your thread on wait comes back to the runnable state? When you are giving a notify statement. So with your wait and notify is what we will be doing synchronization here basically. So now see here, when this thread is telling to notify, which thread is telling it to notify? Put is called by which thread? Producer thread. So when the producer thread is giving you a notify symbol, that is your notify method, if any threads are in sleep, that is waiting, if any of the thread is in waiting position, your producer is telling that it has completed its work and the other thread can resume its execution. So some other thread, whichever is in blocked state, which with your wait function, because of your wait, if it has reached to your blocked state, it requires a notify statement by the thread which is running already, so that this thread is completed and that thread can take over now the turn. So till if at all the notify is not given by this particular producer thread, your consumer thread consider that if it is waiting, then it can never get back to the runnable state at all. If it is not coming to the runnable state, then it cannot go to your running state and further it will stop over there. So what is your notify doing? Producer is giving a notify statement telling clearly that this work has been done and the other thread which is in the blocked state can take the control now. So that means that if any threads is in the waiting state, your this particular producer is telling that that thread can now execute and this thread has completed its execution. So that is what you mean by notify. So wherever a thread is, the thread went for the blocked state because of your wait function, it should other thread should give the notify statement in order to make that particular thread from your blocked state to your runnable state, to get back from blocked state to your runnable state. So now this is what your put function does. Right, the first case. Now your producer done. Producer has put the name, put the data as one, and it is notifying. Till now, we didn't see about your consumer thread, and nothing is waiting also. But it has acquired the lock and it has completed its execution. It's posting the value of this as one. Now consider that your consumer thread has come into the picture. That is, it has started its execution. What does your consumer do? Consumer will call your just your q.get method. So now again it acquires the lock and your get function is executed now. In the get function, now what is the value of your value set? Earlier the value of your value set was false, but what did your put do? It has changed the value set to be true. So now if not true, right? If not true, what do you mean by if not true? It is false. If false, what will happen? If false, this block of the code is not executed and it directly goes to this one and it will print system.out.println got in. This is what this is second statement is printed because of this particular statement execution. Further, it is making again value set to be false. It is making your value set to be false. It also raises, that is consumer thread also raises a notify. Why is this raising again a notify? Consider that your producer thread is sleeping, that is it is waiting and it has in the blocked state now. Now till your consumer thread gives a notify statement, your producer thread also cannot execute. That is the reason your consumer thread as well as your producer thread should notify, because if it is going to the waiting state, it requires a notify state to come back from the blocked state to your runnable state, right? So I'll repeat, your consumer has started your get function, your value set is made to be true by your producer in the put function. So now if not value set, in the sense if not true, it is false, then it comes and executes these statements, these four statements. In that, the first statement is got n. What was the value of your n? This dot n. What was the value of your n? It is 1. Whatever your producer has produced the data is 1. Now what is the value set? Again it is making further it to false, and it is notifying, telling clearly that if any other thread is in the waiting state, it has in the waiting state because of the wait function, then it is notifying that this work is done and that particular uh, thread can take over now the execution. And at the same time, it is returning the value of your n as 1. Done. So this is the first case where you will be getting the data. Like consider that the proper case is like producer is called, producer is producing the data, consumer is consuming the data. Again, producer is thread is working, is executing, it is posting the data. Next time it will post the data too, because your I value is incremented. Now the consumer will read the data as 2. Producer will put 3, consumer will read 3. Producer will put the data as 4, consumer will read the data as 4, and so on. Right? This is my first case. Now we will see the second case. What is the second case? These numbers will represent the action, right? The second case is case 2. Consumer calls the get method. Means before your producer, see, main thread, producer thread, as well as consumer thread all have started its execution. So in the loop, you are having now 3 threads, right? And it is concurrent programming. Now consider that the second case is like consumer thread is executed first. What will happen? What should happen? Before your producer producing the data, whether your consumer can start its execution, what will happen? It should wait till your producer produces the data. That is where your wait lies. So now the second case is like consider that the first consumer thread has started its execution. So consumer calls the get method. So obviously what will happen in the get method, it will wait now till the producer notifies, right? When your consumer is going to the waiting state, What is the advantage of your concurrent programming? When one thread is waiting, the other thread can obviously handle. That is what you mean by CPU maximum utilization. When one thread called consumer thread is in the waiting state, your producer thread can execute, right? So what will happen now? Because consumer thread is calling first step, like directly your consumer thread has started its execution. So it calls the get method. Your get method will make sure that your consumer thread will wait now. So already the consumer thread is waiting. So your producer will take the chance now. Producer will write the data. It will not wait because now the chance is given to your producer, right? Producer don't have any meaning in waiting. The consumer has. Consumer, why it is waiting? Because producer didn't produce the data. It should wait. There is no other option left out for your consumer. So that statement will be writing in your get function. Now what will happen in the meanwhile? The second action of the step is producer will put the data, say someone, and what it should do, we are having one statement called notify in your producer put method, right? So now the producer will notify. Once it writes the data, your producer will notify the consumer that I have written the data. Then your consumer, because it is notifying, the consumer till now it was in the waiting state. Now what will happen? Your consumer will start its execution. It will go to the get method and it will read the data value produced by the producer. And after that, what will happen? Consumer. This is the third step. Consumer calls the get method and it reads and or prints the data given by the producer. So this is my second step. We will see now in the program, right? What happened now? Main thread, consumer and producer is started. The first one what we have taken, producer has started its execution. It posted the data, consumer read the data. There is nothing over there. We will not even check, get the correct use of wait and notify in that case. Now consider that consumer has started. Consumer thread is executing. What does your consumer thread call? It calls the get method. So go to your get method. In the get method, what is the value of your value set? False. See, this is a fresh run now. This is another case. So don't mix up with your previous one at all. Previous one, it was done. It was done. Producer first data, next your consumer is consuming the data. It was done. Now this is the second case where my consumer thread is starting first. So when my consumer thread is starting first, before that, that means producer didn't produce the data only, but your consumer thread started its execution. Then what should happen? It should obviously wait. Now exactly that is what we are going to learn here. So get method, which is consumer is calling the get method. Now what is the value set? Value false. If not false. What do you mean by if not false? If true. If true, what is happening? You are writing a wait statement now. Now this wait statement requires it to be embedded between your try as well as catch. In your exception handling, you learned that one. So this wait requires it to be handled and it will throw usually interrupted exception. So you are writing try, wait, and you are writing catch interrupted exception, and one statement you print, some statement providing a handler over here. So now what is happening? First time I am calling the consumer thread. Consumer thread will call the get method and your value set is false. If not false in the sense if true. If true, what should happen? If true means these statements will be executed. If false means this set of statements will be executed. So because it is true, it will wait. Directly this thread will go to the waiting state. Now what will happen? How many threads are running already? Main, producer, consumer. Consumer is in the waiting state. Now what is the chance? Chance will be given to main or your producer. Main doesn't have anything else because it has started your P1 as well as your C1. That is producer as well as consumer. Now obviously which thread will be executing? Your producer thread will be executing. Now what happens to your producer thread? Producer thread will start executing. Q dot put of I value. This is a fresh run we are talking about. Q dot put of I value is 1. So it goes here. It goes to this particular point. And what is happening? If value set, what is the value of your value set? False. These statements didn't execute at all. So your value set value, your consumer has executed till here and it went to your waiting state. Now the value set value is still false. So if false, now your producer won't wait. That is what you want to do. You can observe the logic behind your value set as a Boolean value. If value set, if it is false, it won't wait. So what will happen now? It goes here and your producer will produce the data. This dot n equal to 1. Value set is made as true so that your consumer can get the data. And 1 is less than or equal to 5. So it has printed the statement system.out.println put value of n is 1 and it is now giving notify. Now which thread will be notified? Which thread went to your blocked state? Your consumer thread went to your blocked state. So now your consumer thread will start its execution. Now can your consumer thread start its execution? Yes. Why? Because already the data has been written by the producer as 1. Now what will happen? Your consumer will come into the picture Consumer will start, it will acquire the lock and it will start. Now what is your value set? What did the value set value change it to? True. So now if not true means if false. So there is no waiting now. Consumer will come to here, it will write got n. What is the value of your n? 1. It will change the value set to be false and it will notify. Now this notify, in case there are any threads which are blocked state because of wait, then only this is useful. It will inform that that particular thread can take the control. That is what exactly happened here. Consumer was waiting, it went to the blocked state. Now what happened? Your producer has written the data and it has notified your consumer that you can start execution now. So this is my second case. What was the second case? We will see here. What is the second case we have seen? Consumer calls the get method directly, so it should wait until the producer produces the data. So it will be waiting. Producer will call the put method, it will write the data and then it will notify the consumer. So now consumer, what it does it do? Third one, consumer calls the get method and it will be printing the data. So the output remains same now, right? Clear with the second case? Now, what is the third case? When will your producer wait? See, producer, consumer parallelly, producer is producing the data, consumer is consuming the data was your case one. Consumer is called first, it should wait was your case two. Till which point it should wait? Till your producer is notifying you the consumer, it should wait. Now the third case is where come we have written a code for your producer also to wait. When does your producer wait here? Right. Now, as I said, we have slightly modified the program. The program looks like this. Producer producing the data, consumer should consume the data. Producer producing data 2, consumer should consume the data 2. Producer will produce the data 3, consumer will consume the data 3 and so on. This I said you initially also. So now consider that your producer is called first time. What does it do? It will post the data, it will write put 1. Done. Now, instead of your consumer, again your producer, we don't know because it is concurrent programming, your producer thread can again start also, right? Or it is still executing. All the three are in the running state only. Your main, your producer, your consumer all are in the running state. Now consider that your producer has started again the control. That again, that is, it is given the control and it started executing. So what is happening? Producer posted the data as 1. Consumer didn't come to the picture at all, right? Consumer didn't read the data. Producer is trying to post the data again. So now in that case, we will make your producer to wait, right? Observe here. First one, producer is calling the put function. Producer is calling the put function. Say 1. It has written the data 1. Now, second time, instead of your consumer, consider that your producer thread is again executing. So what will happen now? Again, it will call put. This time the value will be 2. Int I++ we have written over there. So the value will be 2. What is the value set now? First time when your producer is executed, what it made your value set to be true, right? Now, the second time I'm calling with the n value as 2, what is the value set value? It is true. See, I'll repeat the case. Producer has put the data 1. What is the value set value? When it is posting the data as 1, it made your value set to be true. Before consumer is consuming the data, that is my consumer didn't start its execution at all. It is running, but because of many reasons, maybe your get method is not executed. Right, it didn't reach to that one. It will be executed, but because of concurrent programming, maybe again the chance is given to your producer. It will happen, right? So now consider that for the second time, your producer is again writing the data, wants to write the data called as 2. Now, earlier, what is the value set made by your producer? True. So if true, what will happen? This block of the code will be executed. So what will happen now? Your producer will go to your wait state, right? Producer will go to the wait state. When it will come back? Now, when your producer is waiting, what are the other two threads which are running? Main as well as consumer. Main doesn't have its own anything now, right? It is completely executed, but it will be in the running state till it ends. So what is the other thread now which needs to be executed? Obviously your consumer. So the consumer will go, it will call your get function and it will read the data. And this will notify when your get method is executing the notify. What was the thread which is sleeping earlier? Producer thread, because it went to the waiting state. So now the consumer gives a notify statement, then producer will start its execution. Now it can start its execution. Why? Producer produced the data, consumer consumed the data, consumer informed your producer that yes, I read the data. Then again your producer can produce another set of the data like 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on, right? So that is what our last case was, right? Last case, observe the set of actions here. Producer calls put and writes the data 1. Second time also, producer tries to call the put method again and it wants to write the data called as 2 now. What will happen now? Because your consumer didn't consume the data, it should go to the waiting state. Now, what is the third step here? Consumer will call the get method, it will read and it will notify the producer. So now producer will again produce the data. That you can write here similarly, and notifies. You can write it as and notifies the producer. So this 1, 2, 3, this just represent the set of actions. So we don't, because it is your concurrent programming, we need to consider all the cases. We need to keep in mind all the cases and we need to write the program. So these are the different cases which you can encounter usually in this program. So now you can see everywhere like producer producing the data, consumer consuming the data. If consumer is called first, it should wait. If producer keep first, it produces the data, but before consumer is reading the data, if it tries to produce the data again, it should wait. So there is a proper synchronization between producer as well as consumer in this particular program. Now, irrespective of that, how many times you execute the code, I'll run the program again. Right, you can see the data value is put 1, got 1, and so on. Now you execute again, run as. I'll be going for my second run. Right, now you can see that you'll be getting the data put 1, get 1. There is a proper synchronization here also. Right, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Right, and your I think we have